Hello everyone, thank you so much for joining our webinar today on the floor QA. What does it mean? What does it look like? With our speaker Kenneth Bosley, who I'll introduce in just a moment. We will be answering your questions following this webinar. To ask a question, select the word bubble that appears in the toolbar at the right of your screen. An area to type and send your question will appear. Feel free to enter in your questions throughout the presentation. These will be displayed at the end of the webinar and answered by our speaker. Following this webinar, you will also be sent an email with a copy of today's slide deck and a recording of this presentation, as well as information on our next webinar. If you enjoyed today's presentation, we hope that you can join us again next week for our webinar that airs on Monday, September 21st. This is a free webinar that will be hosted by both Berkshire Sterile Manufacturing and Sharp Clinical Services. The webinar will help you to optimize your supply chain during the process of bringing a biologic drug product through formulation to clinic. Our speakers will give an overview of the steps involved, as well as guidance and advice in what pitfalls to avoid. They will also discuss each step on the journey to clinic, from formulation, fill, and lyophilization through to quality testing, stability, primary and secondary packaging, as well as distribution and QP release. Our speakers for that event includes our co-founder, Dr. Andrea Wagner, who is also the Senior Vice President of Business Development here at Berkshire Sterile Manufacturing, and Sasha Sonnenberg, who is the Global Head of Business Development at Sharp Clinical Services. Now, returning back to today's webinar, on the floor QA, our speaker for today is Kenneth Bosley. Kenneth Bosley is our Senior Manager of Quality Assurance at Berkshire Sterile Manufacturing. So without further ado, I will be passing you off to him.
Thank you, Sarah, for the introduction. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for taking the time to join me for this webinar presentation of Berkshire Sterile on the floor QA. What does it mean? What does it look like? I am your host for today's presentation, Kenneth Bosley, BSM's Senior Manager of QA Shop Floor and Batch Disposition. A little about myself: I have over 16 years of biopharma experience in both QC and QA. I have worked for various companies ranging from the small startups to the very large biotechs such as Amgen and Lonza. It is a pleasure for me to provide to you all here today with insight to BSM's quality culture and how QA plays a role in everyday operations at Berkshire Sterile Manufacturing. Without further ado, let us begin. And no, that is not me posing for the picture. If anything, I think I drink too much coffee to ever sleep. The topics we will touch upon in this webinar will be the following: quality philosophy, why QA on the floor, the quality difference, BSM team, both shop floor and disposition, the direct benefit to the client, and finally, beyond the floor, a look at what my team and I do outside of the operational oversight that we provide. First, an overview of the quality philosophy at BSM. Quality is our highest priority. Quality is not only important to us and our clients, but ultimately, the patients demand our highest commitment. They take the drugs that we manufacture on the faith that we have done our jobs to the letter and produced a product that is safe, effective, and unadulterated. Quality is not just one person or one department. Quality is a responsibility taken on by everyone throughout the process. From raw materials throughout till it's packaged, sent to the patient, and beyond. At BSM, every employee understands that quality is their priority. So let me ask you this. How many of you, when you get a headache, think about the manufacturing process of the Advil you pop? All the people who test the chemical at multiple stages, ensuring it meets set specifications, the quality control department ensuring all the tests have been done appropriately, deviations out of specification, investigations closed with the proper root cause, and corrective actions, and so on and so on. Generally, we have a headache, we take the medicine we need, and trust that those people put into the positions of quality are doing their jobs with integrity. At BSM, we know that the great trust is placed upon us to deliver quality above all, and that's what we deliver in every dose. So let me switch gears here for a second. So picture this if you may. It's Saturday night in a pharmaceutical manufacturing facility around 11:30 p.m. when the alarm goes off in the aseptic processing area. There has been a positive pressure breach and the area is compromised. The manufacturing staff quickly close the product tank and move it to the proper storage area. So what should happen next? There are no quality personnel on the shop floor over the weekend, so no one is present to review the containment actions taken or discuss what next steps should be from a compliance perspective. Manufacturing is pretty much left to their own devices. So believe it or not, this is a common scenario at many biological pharmaceutical facilities. With the ever-increasing demands for more product, firms are implementing 3-shift operations to keep up. However, they are not scaling their quality staff or quality presence to keep up with the increased manufacturing activity. It is a regulatory requirement to have a quality unit in place to oversee all aspects of the manufacturing organization. But how that quality unit should be rolled out is open to interpretation, and each approach has its own strengths and weaknesses. Having a group of qualified individuals to review standard operating procedures and corrective action plans and to conduct deviation investigations and periodic audits sometimes isn't enough. The integration of a shop floor quality unit into manufacturing operations is extremely beneficial for continuously improving quality culture. So let us move to why shop floor QA. BSM QA shop floor versus QA in the office or traditional quality departments. The BSM difference with embedded quality during operations. To begin, QA floor oversight is an assurance that data integrity is maintained at the source. We provide real-time Alcoa assurance. As we all know, Alcoa is the acronym Attributable, Legible, Contemporaneous, Original, and Accurate. Oversight provides review that entries are being initial and dated, as well as verified at the time of entry. Comments are discussed ahead of time to ensure that enough information is being captured and information is clear to paint a total picture of the event. Everything is entered real time as it's performed and entered directly into the batch record. Everyone has heard of the saying, if you write it on your glove, then the glove is now part of the batch record. Furthermore, data calculations are performed and verified at the time of calculation. All data is entered with no missing entries to be filled in after production has ended with late entries abound. My team also aids in the review of consistency of entries in the record. For instance, data needing to be referenced in other areas of the batch record. They're transcribed appropriately, and measured units are performed consistently throughout execution. Finally, ensuring that the correct controlled forms are used, and we also assist in the printing of additional pages as necessary. So now in comparison with the traditional QA of enforcement of Alcoa in post-execution. Traditional QA enforces Alcoa post-execution after operations have been completed. There is a higher risk of initial and date entries missed, comments may be misinterpreted, not clear, and missing important information or just badly worded. Transcription errors may occur, the data may be missed further in the record, data calculations are reviewed after the fact, which may have serious downstream consequences. Some data attachments or entries may be unaccounted for. Additional entries may be inconsistent between operators within the shift or over the shifts entirely. And finally, the risk of controlled forms not being used and uncontrolled copies being introduced into the record. So let us look at what embedded quality looks like at BSM. Embedded quality personnel provide unparalleled access to the quality unit at the time of execution. It is possible to address potential issues as they arise, answer questions related to compliance and what best practice may be for that intended moment, as well as review documentation as it happens. With quality personnel at the point of execution, potential issues can be caught ahead of time, discussed and mitigated before possible deviations occur. This reduces the number of deviations for the record and reduces the time needed for disposition. For deviations that do occur, they are discussed in real time, containment actions are agreed upon by quality and manufacturing staff, which lead to immediate corrective actions being more effective in containing the event. Knowledge is power. In addition to providing compliance knowledge and best practice guidance to the manufacturing personnel, QA shop floor is also knowledgeable in the process itself. QA staff are trained on the same procedures and equipment that they themselves witness and review. This knowledge allows shop floor to be an asset in assisting manufacturing staff during deviation investigations and troubleshooting. Quality support to manufacturing staff is heightened to resolve and close deviations quicker. QA offers compliance guidance and coaching. At BSM, we feel that QA is a partner with all other departments. Specifically, for my team, manufacturing operations is a major client of ours, which we, quality, provide a service. The mentorship is something that is built over time that leads to increased knowledge transfer from quality to operations, but also from operations to quality. Quality also understands the demands and challenges that manufacturing associates encounter on a day-to-day basis. Equipment issues, production holds, staging in of additional equipment. These delays and unforeseen issues play into the dynamic of QA and operations. My team is mindful when things get stressed for manufacturing. QA needs to be more vigilant during those times to ensure that the priority of quality is still maintained. On the flip side, manufacturing staff witness the fine line quality walks between ensuring compliance and keeping business goals in mind and still meeting production milestones. There begins to build this mutual respect and trust between the two groups. Another benefit of QA being front and center at the action is that we can provide real-time teaching moments to manufacturing associates. There have been many times and places I have worked where quality is looked at getting in the way or hindering production with all of their, quote, rules. With QA working with manufacturing together, the us versus them mentality is greatly reduced and over time negated. When discussions are had regarding comment edits or quality requirements needing documentation, they are done in real time. The ability for these discussions to be had sooner rather than later will pay in dividends as operational staff will see QA as more of a coach rather than an enforcer. Additionally, improvements can be documented and discussed in real time as well. This is particularly important when discussions are had on complex comments or the need for initiation of deviations. Ultimately, I want to make sure that all the other departments see quality as a partner and not a roadblock. As the relationship between quality and manufacturing continues to mature, there begins to be ideas shared for improvement activities. Efficiencies to procedures, better training, and increased awareness of compliance by manufacturing are some of the benefits to this cooperative relationship. Now we move to QA in the office, or traditional QA. As shop floor is front and center of the action during processing, office-style QA is not available, or their availability is intermittent at best. Issues that occur during production are dealt with after the event has happened, thereby creating deviations, rather than identifying and mitigating the issue before it is elevated to a deviation. With this, deviations occur at a higher rate and take longer to close, as they may be discovered during final review of the batch production record. In addition to increased deviations, the potential for aborted deviations increases as well due to confusion over compliance matters, what is versus what is not a deviation. This leads to expenditures of personnel resources and time dedicated to investigating deviations due to ill-informed or confused manufacturing associates. For those instances that do rise to the level of deviation, those initial interviews with the primary witnesses to the event are had after the fact. Possible critical information can be lost, and immediate containment or corrective actions could be deemed ineffective. So as I said before, knowledge is power, but lack of it is a weakness. So for QA traditional in the office, due to their disconnection to the process at the source, rely heavily on manufacturing subject matter experts for all information related to process and equipment. Deviation investigation and resolution is slower, as quality needs to be brought up to speed on operations and the reasons behind these deviations. So where does this lead? Quality compliance is left to be the end-all be-all of quality oversight. QA and production perform work in silos, and the knowledge transfer, as I spoke of before, between the two groups in this instance is limited or minimal at best. Quality's lack of understanding for the day-to-day dynamic in manufacturing will begin to erode cooperation and respect between the two groups. Moreover, operations will begin to see QA as getting in the way of performing their job functions and slowing down production. This will lead to possibly underreporting of deviations, lack of care by the production associates to their GDP documentation, and overall commitment to quality as a whole. With this mentality I spoke of before with the us versus them, perception that quality is the black and white, the yes or no compliance police, and manufacturing is just trying to do their jobs, QA being privy to issues after the fact, the feedback that is communicated is no longer looked at as constructive and helpful. It is perceived as criticism, and giving individuals that feeling of criticism does not bode well for the relationship between the two groups. Those teaching moments are then lost, and relationships are strained further. Finally, in contrast, areas of improvements are delayed and looked at as afterthoughts. Improvements to process or procedures are delayed. This is extremely important in the fast-paced industry of CMOs, where multiple batches could be produced within the same week or even day. This fast-paced production schedule and the lack of awareness for improvement activities could lead to systematic problems in not just one, but many of the products produced. Now, we get to who we are. BSM Shop Floor and Disposition. The men and women who, through their continuous dedication to quality, oversee production. They are the backbone of BSM's reputation and stand behind every dose we produce for client and patient. What is our QA shop floor presence? We provide oversight throughout all CGMP activities being performed within the manufacturing suites. We are present to review batch record pages in real time to ensure Alcoa, as discussed earlier in this presentation. Myself or members of my team are available to provide compliance guidance when it comes to equipment issues, event reporting, environmental excursions, or any other questions manufacturing staff may have during a filling operation. We take the time to explain the reasons behind our decisions so all parties can be aware and understand the why behind our actions. The ability to work with manufacturing to come to a mutual understanding for some quality decisions will go a long way in building those respectful relationships if people know why something is decided upon and they are given a chance to provide their own point of view. This dynamic at BSM has helped grow the cooperation between the two groups, where manufacturing associates will actively seek out QA to ask their opinions or even just a sanity check when it comes to procedures. Manufacturing associates are not afraid to bring up improvement ideas to ensure that procedures are revised to reflect true operations and are able to work with quality to revise and resolve any discrepancies that are observed during execution. We at BSM all know we have one final goal in mind, and that is to produce quality product for both client and patient. Quality and manufacturing have different goals or milestones, but our common priority is quality. Finally, my team actively works with manufacturing operations and process engineers throughout the life cycle of the batch production record. My team and I review and collaborate on the pre-execution documentation for the entire record. QA shop floor has a detailed checklist that is used to ensure all I's are dotted and T's are crossed. This checklist, with the addition of face-to-face collaboration with process engineering, ensures records are complete, reflect the actual process, which minimizes on-the-floor document errors and potential deviations. We also, as stated before, provide real-time review of the executed copy. QA shop floor and disposition then review the post-executed copy after manufacturing and quality control have completed their technical reviews. This is a final spot check of the documentation for compliance problems that may have been missed during execution or from technical review. My team works with both QC and manufacturing to complete comments, fix any errors found, and if necessary, open deviations. With the production batch then dispositioned, it is then time to reflect and look to improve activities. QA and manufacturing, along with process engineering, sit down for lessons learned activities. This is highly beneficial for all parties involved, as it allows for the departments to provide feedback on the batch record and the process. These discussions are taken by process engineers and used as action items entered into the change control for next revision. This is intended to eliminate recurring deviations or document errors in subsequent revisions and move towards right first time. The second part of my team is completely dedicated to batch review as well as client comment responses. These are the individuals tasked with direct quality review of the batch production records. Having dedicated specialists who review the batch records are paramount when expedited review is requested for high priority projects. These individuals hypercare the executed records, working side by side with QA shop floor, process engineering, and manufacturing to close out errors and outstanding comments quickly. Additionally, they work with clients post-disposition to address concerns and to clarify events or parts of the process performed at BSM. When client QA requests edits or errors be fixed, disposition specialists, coupled with QA shop floor, are the people who stay in communication with client representatives to ensure all questions are answered and comments are addressed. QA shop floor, the advantages to the client. What is the value to our clients for having QA shop floor presence? First, we see that having QA embedded within manufacturing heightens quality and the fact that errors can be caught ahead of time, which lessen deviations within the record. Additionally, if issues do arise to the level of a deviation, immediate corrective actions can be discussed in real time to ensure containment. Investigations can be had as soon as the deviation occurs, which also lessens the time for deviation closure. Finally, real-time review of documentation allows QA to catch discrepancies, which shorten review and approval on the back end of the process. QA batch disposition. Dedicated reviewers equal faster turnaround time for edits, comment resolution, pre-execution review for a better right first time execution. Knowledge of the process and equipment aid in the investigation process and allow for quicker resolution and a more complete deviation root cause and corrective action plan. Another benefit is the direct client interaction post-execution to help facilitate responses to client comments regarding their production. This is very important from a customer service point of view, as we at BSM realize all of our clients have tight timelines and require our quality team to be flexible and understanding of our clients' goals and milestones. All of these put together is a direct benefit to our clients as they see quicker release of their product, less waste in personnel, and time performing investigations, as well as ensuring a relationship between CMO and client is cultivated and maintained throughout the project's life cycle. QA beyond the floor. My team does not just focus on the batch record production and oversight of operations. We also touch upon areas further downstream as well, ensuring quality is maintained. Let us look at additional areas where shop floor provides excellent quality service. At inspection, the quality team here at BSM is present during filling operations, but we are also front and center during inspection of the product and its container post-filling. After 100% inspection is completed by our highly trained inspection team, QA shop floor will then provide a second layer of inspection known as AQL inspection testing. AQL is an acronym for Acceptable Quality Levels, or acceptable quality limits. AQL is defined as the highest number of defects that are allowed in a certain percentage of an entire order. As acceptance sampling is done on the basis of statistics, it produces inspection results that are easier and clearer to interpret as compared to other methods. AQL sets limits for the number of defects that are allowed to be found in a specific sample size. The result of the inspection is usually fail when the number of defects found is exceeding a specific limit. It's then the decision to either accept or reject the product on the basis of this particular result. BSM's approach using both methodologies of 100% inspection and AQL inspection show our commitment to ensuring that the product and containers are free from any defects and meet strict specifications for color, clarity, and ensure freedom of foreign matter. Finally, before the product leaves BSM's docks out to the client or out to the clinic, there is another area of oversight we perform, that being during packaging and labeling. Quality is responsible for accurately counting, issuing, reconciling, and destroying labels if necessary prior to packaging. Additionally, we provide oversight to the process of labeling to ensure time-sensitive material is out of its specified temperatures for its required time during labeling, and enforcing all associates adhere to the labeling modules which these actions are recorded. Finally, we give the material its final blessing, working with logistics and shipping to ensure quantity, correct temperature, shipping configuration is performed appropriately and per procedures. We will also perform physical counts of units and confirm shipping manifests to match material and client codes to the batch being shipped. All of these steps in place will give peace of mind that quality is behind every point in the process. Thank you all for taking the time to listen to our webinar on the floor QA. I leave you with one parting statement before I take your questions. It is BSM's continued policy that quality is everyone's job. No QA specialist, no matter how confident, skilled, or tactful, can be solely responsible for quality. Production operators who touch the product can ensure quality as well. QA is like the canary in the mine, detecting and reporting what it senses. This allows everyone to perform at the highest degree possible and work together to make the science and the compliance better. With QA at the critical points embedded with operations, process engineering, inspection, and packaging, the client, CMO, and most important, the patient can be confident of a quality product. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Kenneth. In just a moment, we're going to be answering your questions. So if you haven't already, please put your questions in. As a reminder, to ask a question, select the word bubble that appears in the toolbar at the right of your screen, and an area where you can type in your question and send it will appear. We're going to take a moment to switch over the screens and answer your questions, so we're going to mute ourselves briefly, but please enter your questions now.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you again for attending our webinar. This is Ken Bosley. We're going to be going through the questions and answer portion of the webinar. So right now, again, please submit your questions and we'll go through them as they show up. So first, we have, what are some strategies for having knowledgeable QA associates on the floor? Some of the strategies that we have here at Berkshire Sterile, we have the QA individuals that train on the manufacturing procedures. They also will work hand in hand with manufacturing, observing the setup of equipment, the use of equipment. One of the great benefits of my QA team is that we do have some individuals that have migrated from manufacturing to come over to my team, which always is a great benefit because of that knowledge that they've had directly related to the manufacturing process can be, I guess, filtered through the rest of the department, so they are more knowledgeable. Question number 2, do QA associates on the floor have the ability to decide next actions when unplanned deviations occur? That's a great question. So yes, we do allow our operators and specialists, QA on the floor, autonomy to a point. They're also trained to escalate issues as well as they occur if they feel that they need to bring more individuals into the fold for conversations, i.e. upper level management, and also to potentially stop production if critical issues occur during filling operations. So they are aware of what they need to do for escalating activities. Let's see. Do on the floor QA employees involve themselves in the activities they're monitoring? Example, do the associates help with the fill? So the QA floor associates don't themselves perform activities within the filling process. However, they will help out from time to time if they have to potentially read out something to a manufacturing operator who is not in view of, say, a panel. And they'll also, help flip a switch if necessary. Nothing that is technically an operating process. They will observe, of course, and again, as said in the webinar, they will provide guidance if necessary. But generally, a lot of those decisions or helping activities are done by the manufacturing operators themselves. Okay, number 4. What's your opinion of having a non-QA person function in the oversight role for small operations to avoid overcrowding? So I understand that we do try to minimize overcrowding within the suites because I mean too many QA individuals, uh, you know, operators overall. Will kind of slow down production and get in the way. But I do feel that QA oversight truly gives you the best unencumbered oversight because you don't have, say, a conflict of interest if you have additional manufacturing personnel overseeing their own department. Yes, you should have leads and supervisors potentially there from a technical standpoint, but quality in the suite itself during operations, I feel is your best option for quality and compliance oversight. Let's see. So the next question, what is the requirements to apply for a QA position? So it really depends on the level of expertise or the level that the individual would be applying for. Generally, we require a college degree, preferably within the science background. Also, previous experience within quality or manufacturing is preferred. Some of the attributes that we look for in individuals coming to QA, specifically shop floor and disposition, is the ability to think outside the box, also to have a great attention to detail, the ability to have excellent communication skills, a real good mindset as far as understanding that quality is the priority. Additionally, we like to see individuals that try to drive change and try to look for opportunities for continuous improvement. Okay, that's all the questions, and thank you today for joining me here for this webinar. Thank you very much.